I was able to build my agency to 106K a month. And it was not meditations, red light therapy, get your sun in, get your lecture. None of that. Stop listening to the gurus. There's one secret technique that's pretty controversial, but is the same technique that I used to scale so quickly in years worth of time in just months. So with that said, let's get right into it. But I just have one question for you guys. Do you have an enemy? You guys have probably heard this thrown around so many times, and you've probably heard it a lot with this verse in the Bible from Matthew. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. Everyone's preaching, don't have enemies, I have no enemies, turn the cheek, everything. Yeah, that may be very useful and very aligned with the teachings of Christ. Now, I'm not saying to do anything opposite of that, but there's a misunderstanding that people don't realize when it comes to this verse. Matthew is saying to love your enemies, not that you'll never have enemies or God will never place an enemy in front of you to conquer. So the question now is, who is the right enemy? What do you do with enemies? And I want to tell you guys right now, if you're going to extract the most amount of potential that you have deep inside you, you need an enemy, and not just any enemy. You guys need to choose the correct enemy. I'm going to show you and walk you through exactly how we do that. Now, Derek, why do I need an enemy though? Good question. I want you guys to just step back a little bit, just look and reflect. It doesn't even have to be the past year, but your past life, all the way back in elementary. Look back and reflect and think of those moments where you made the biggest leaps of progress. You had endless energy. No motivation was needed. You're just purely locked into a goal. And those times you're able to stay up all the way up to 5 a.m., work 14 hours a day, and nobody was able to stop you. To the point you feel like you went 200% over your potential, but you still felt like you didn't do enough. If you put that type of energy in business, you guys are going to be able to soar. Now, when I personally reflect and look back on my life, those moments where I felt so in the zone, so locked in, like no one was able to stop me, it was not when I was in super happy times. It wasn't when everything was going right for me. It wasn't when I just had all the friends, everyone was cheering me on, and like, yeah, keep going, Derek. It wasn't. The reality is, it was in those moments where everyone was against me, when a specific person was against me. And it was more than just me against myself, but I had externals not believing in me, talking behind my back, saying I wouldn't be able to do X, Y, Z. In reality, it was those times consistently where I felt beaten. I felt like I was falling behind. People I looked up to straight up talked to me in my face and said, you will not be able to do this. Just stop. And proceed to laugh behind my back with someone else I know. And compare that to the times where you don't have that external factor of enemies. When I don't have enemies, I'm just racing against myself. It's pure discipline. But every single time I had that enemy I wanted to just completely prove wrong and surpass, I had endless energy. I can't even describe how endless it was. Nothing in the entire world was going to stop me. Now, I learned this lesson from Patrick Bet-David. If you guys don't know his story, allow me to walk you through. It's pretty crazy of an extreme that he did. So to set the scene, here's Patrick in his car, and he's currently driving 6 hours with a lot of anger in him, all alone. But where is he going? He is going to the events where his top competitor in his niche is hosting a massive in-person event for, where he's speaking to all these other people in his industry and just being that suave dude. So what happened was Patrick went to that event. He saw him and he really did not like this guy. Why? He was the top person in his industry. He didn't think he deserved what he got. He was just not a good person. And Patrick knew that he could be better than him, that he could surpass him. And it was killing him inside that he was so much lower than him. So what did Patrick do? This man went through the crowd, through the bodyguards, and went straight up to this rival's face. And he told him, he pointed at him in his face, point blank, and said, I am going to be making a business that's bigger and better than you, and you can eat my dust. Naturally, the other guy just looked at him, started to cuss him out, said he'll never make it, say he's a nobody. What did Patrick do? Bro looked him straight in the eyes and said, thanks. That's the exact thing and only thing I wanted to hear from my 6-hour drive. And like the Chad he is, Mans went back in his car, went straight back home, and he was happy. He got that enemy. He now had that fire and that passion put into him. His top rival telling him he would not be able to do something straight to his face. And that was an extreme way of doing it. But guess what happened next? He put his head down. He got to work. And what he would have really done with just discipline alone might have taken him a couple years. He got done in months. He was able to surpass so many levels. And in no time at all, he surpassed that very person that he went and stared at him right in his eyes and said, I'm going to surpass you. He won. And the next thing that happened, after just winning and winning and winning, that same rival that Patrick had, that enemy of his, called him up, sad, late hours, I believe. And he was like, Patrick, man, my business is going down. I'm losing deals. My branding's not going right. Everything's just going down. And he was vulnerable with him. He cried on the phone. And this is an important lesson to know. When I say to make an enemy and choose an enemy to fuel you, that doesn't mean I want you guys to go against Christ's teachings and to throw this man aside of the street. A lot of people would laugh in his face, would just say, you got it coming to you, hang up. What would Jesus do? Patrick spent that whole night talking with them, making sure he felt okay. I believe he even offered him a job. And he was like, we're going to get you back up on your feet. This is what you're going to do. And this is the best case scenario. Now they're friends to this day. I hope you guys understand that it's vital, if you want to make leaps and bounds, that you choose a strong enemy to overcome. But it's more important that once you do overcome that enemy, that you don't fall into temptation of rubbing it in, of being evil. You want to be that light, that person someone else can look up to, and turn that enemy into a friend and not bear hatred. That is exactly why it's so important that you choose your enemy wisely. If Patrick would have chose someone way below his enemy that he chose, he wouldn't have made leaps and bounds as quickly. And as Sun Tzu, the author of Art of War, if you guys haven't read that book, choose your enemy wisely, for you eventually become him. So who's the enemy? Who's the person that you want to be? Who is living the life right now that you crave? And does it make you mad that they're living the life that you're not? This is the step-by-step action I want you guys to do. Choose your enemy. It doesn't have to be today even. It's really, take some time, look through, reflect, make a list. Who is that enemy that you want? Make sure that's someone that's going to push you, but not someone that's too easily beatable. If your dream life is to be in the Maldives with the McLaren, you're not going to choose your enemy as the guy who has a Lamborghini in LA. Choose that person. Choose that niche. Choose that top industry person you want to dethrone. And once you've selected that person, you now have to sear them into your brain and wake up every single day. This person, I'm going to be better than him at this today. He probably didn't work out like me today. I'm going to make sure I make these amount of videos today. X, Y, Z. Choose that enemy in every single aspect of that enemy. You just defeat them in every single way you possibly can. Now, once you finally defeat that enemy, like I've always done, I select a new enemy. But this is very important. I want you guys to listen in again. Once you beat your enemy, do not fall for the pit trap that I have gone through, honestly, multiple times. I'll defeat that enemy and everything will be good and happy and chirpy again. And everything's good with the world. I'm getting the money I want. I have the time I want. I'm with the friends I like. And everything's just good. And now I'm stagnant. There's just happiness and peace. And very quickly, I'm plateauing. If even plateauing, I might be going a little bit lower in terms of motivation. And now you're letting other people beat you. I want you to understand, business is a game. You cannot afford to just stop playing after a win. Because in reality, it is impossible to win at the game of business. You can have landmarks, but you can never win at business. Not Elon, not Bill Gates, not anyone. If they stopped working today, next month, someone will surpass them. So what is guaranteed in the game of business is that if you stop playing, you lose. So choose that person, that enemy that is going to fuel you to wake up every single day and to beat them in every single capacity. If you have to print them out, put them up on the monitors, on your doors, whatever it is, you will come to the conclusion that if you want to be motivated and you want a McLaren and you take that picture of a McLaren and put it right up here every single day, I guarantee you, you're not going to be as motivated to get that McLaren unless it was that same picture of the McLaren, but someone that you did not like riding in that McLaren, having the life you want. I guarantee you that is going to get you up more every single morning. You're going to have more desire, more passion to do what you want to do. And it's going to be even faster of you beating that enemy. Now remember that. And once you do beat that enemy, always remember that person is just an enemy to you inside mentally to help you. That person does not have to be an enemy on the outside. Treat them as a friend. Treat them as an equal. And don't be afraid to become friends with that person. At the end of the day, I want you guys to improve as much as possible, but have a net positive with your output in the world.